One day during my freshman year of high school, I was told to report to the Dean of Students' office. As I walked in, I seen Mr. Love, this big, stocky guy that was loud. He spoke his mind. He also had this presence that just demanded attention and respect. Besides that, he liked joking with his students. So much, the first day we met, he told me I reminded him of one of those Spanish Harlem guys from New York. Immediately, I got defensive. It wasn't the Spanish part since I'm Puerto Rican. It was the fact that he was considering me a New Yorker. Yeah. So I tell him, yo, I'm from Boston, all right? He's staring at me, just sizing me up like the way he is right now in his office. Besides Mr. Love being in his office, I recognized my mom. And she had that, yeah, we need to talk look. Immediately, I knew why she was there. So the night before, I stole about $100 from her to buy some weed. I tried explaining myself, but Mr. Love wasn't tolerating it, telling me, hey, look at your mother. Does this make you proud? You know she's gonna be the only one that's ever gonna look out for you, right? As I sat there, I was ashamed of my actions. I was making a bunch of mistakes at that time that was disappointing my mother. Growing up, I didn't have many positive male role models. Lots of people in my family didn't graduate high school. My dad wasn't in the picture as much as I wanted and needed. And most of the people I hung out with outside of school, including my relatives, were involved with that street life. Selling drugs, robbing, and shooting people. But that came the nice clothes, the fancy cars, money, power, and respect. And like most kids in the hood, I fell in that trap, and I wanted those things. My mom, she did everything that she possibly can to raise 2 boys on her own and for us to have a place called home. Even after several conversations with my brother and I, telling us that there's nothing out in the streets besides problems, I decided not to listen. I was the hardhead, and I had to learn the hard way. There were so many things that I did that hid from my mom. Like, one day, my brother, uncle, and I, we went to a party. He ended up getting in an argument with the guy from a gang. He was wise enough to know it was time for us to get up out of there. So as we drove off, the guy came out the building, started shooting at the back of the car. Pow, pow, pow. When that happened, as I'm crouching down, I feel something hit the back of my shoulder. And I'm worried now. But I stood quiet until we got far away from the scene. As we got further, I started touching my body. I recognized that I'm okay. But then I started to think, man, I need to be careful with who I'm hanging out with. So the next day I go to school. Mr. Love pulls me to the side, and I'm not even sure how he found out about this situation. But we start talking about the same thing I was thinking about the night before. And then he tells me, hey, you should think about leaving Boston for a few. That wasn't the first time that thought was mentioned. The whole idea about me living out in Florida with my grandmother was mentioned, but my mom, she understood the importance of a child being raised by their parent, so that never happened. But this time when Mr. Love mentioned it, I truly took it into consideration. But I wasn't expecting this man to say to Rwanda. I wasn't even sure where that was at that time, so he tells me, Africa. And I'm like, all right. But the only reference that I could think of at that moment was based off this movie, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective with Jim Carrey. Right? Anyways, my school, they were sending some students to go study abroad for a month. And I'd be able to go if I can afford the flight. But I knew this was gonna be a challenge for my family, but it motivated me. I wanted to help out, raise the money the clean way, no drug money. So that's when I decided to sell cheesecakes. My mother and I, chefing it up, selling it to friends and families, in schools, at work, local businesses, at church, everywhere. And it was a big hit. We sold out, and I was able to afford my flight. During my time in Rwanda, I had an amazing experience. It taught me how to be more grateful and open-minded. Thought I was struggling back at home. But compared to most people in Rwanda, my problems were nothing. Mind you, 14 years before that trip, a genocide occurred there. The way that the people were showing each other love and support on a daily basis to rebuild their communities truly inspired me. Made me question what I was doing back at home and the change that I'm gonna have to make. So when I returned back from my trip, I started taking school more seriously. I was even elected as the class president for the last 2 years. I started to shadow the principal, Miss Skipper, at that time, because I wanted to study education and become a principal. I remember a conversation that we had, and she's telling me, man, are we looking at the same person? Nowadays, Mr. Love is looking at me differently. He's happy for me, and he tells me that he's proud of me, that he recognizes the change that I've made. 7 years later, I'm standing in a classroom, working with students with similar challenges I had growing up. And that's when I see my reflection. Not my actual reflection, but one of my students, a 6-year-old boy. He's smiling, dressed up in a suit, tie, and dress shoes, like I worn almost every day ever since I became an educator. He tells me, I'm you, Mr. Muñoz. I want to be just like you. It brought so much joy to me to know that I was making an impact on his life the same way Mr. Love had on me. And instead of disappointing my mom, now she's proud. Thank you.